bit of activity when it comes to our weather. Right now you see a bit of a system up here to the north up there in Canada behind that banner, and that's what's really going to start bringing some of the instability we're going to see here in the Northland. Right now we haven't seen too much. A couple showers move through, but they have mostly dissipated. Right now we are seeing those clearing in the clouds right now, but we're already going to see that action start to pick up as we get later into the afternoon. You can see here once we get into probably later this afternoon especially, we're going to start seeing those storms come back. Now again, it's a conditional threat, but we're likely going to see him once we get around Twin Ports south into northwest Wisconsin, and we're going to continue to see that action into the evening. But when it comes to storms in the near future, well, we have to look overnight going into Saturday morning, because that's where we're most likely to see a complex of storms make their way through again, usually south of Highway 2 going into northwest Wisconsin is where we expect most of the action to be at. In fact, when it comes to severe weather, which will be possible, a lot of us under marginal risk, but the further south you go, as you can see, there's a slight risk, so the odds do increase the further south you go of seeing some storms with damaging winds and some large hail. So just be aware of that as we go through today, going into early tomorrow. But before that cold front gets here, that's going to help initiate some of these storms. We're going to be pretty muggy outside. Dew point's going to be pushing into the upper 60s, low 70s today. And if we look at the temperature as well, it's going to be quite warm as well. We're talking 80s for those highs for lava, especially as we get northwest Wisconsin, where we expect more of that sunshine early in the afternoon. And look at the heat index, because we add in the humidity with that heat. We're talking the heat index possibly pushing into the lower 90s again, especially as you get into northwest Wisconsin. And even after that cold front passes on through, we're going to see it stall, become a stationary front just to our south, and that's going to allow for more rain chances to continue as we go through the weekend and even into the beginning of next week, because we're going to see confluence, or we could call convergence, along the stationary front, which allows for more instability. And when it comes to those rain totals, you see further south you go, we're talking 2-3 inches possible. And as we go north, you can see a cutoff. Once you get to Twin Ports, probably 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. So once you get down here, especially when you get to Washburn, Burnett, Sawyer counties, the southern portion of those counties, that's where we're expecting some of the heavier rain. And this is why excessive rainfall today is a marginal risk for the southern half of the Northland. But you see the further south you go, as we go into tomorrow and Sunday, we start seeing a slight risk as well. So we all need to be, especially if you're under any excessive rainfall issue right now, we got to keep an eye on the potential of some flash flooding in your area. But the further south you are, the more you need to be keeping an eye on that. And it's not just going to be the rain that is going to be impacted by this setup in our weather. It's going to be the temperature as well, as we're going to see this high pressure try to push in just a little bit to bring in those easterly to northeasterly winds. And they're going to be strong. We're talking 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts, specifically off of Lake Superior. And that's going to really cool it down. By the time we get to Sunday, highs into the 60s for a lot of us. So after a warm one today, is really going to feel quite cool for our Sunday. And you can see here that big dip as we look at our temperatures going over the next 7 days. But good news, if you're more into the warmer temperatures this time of year, well, we're going to be warming back up as we get into next week, and we're also going to be drying out as well as we get into the middle of next week. But for now, we got to deal with the warmth for today, the rain that we're going to see through the weekend, and some of the cooler temperatures towards the end of the weekend.